What is happening, everybody? Sean Daniel here with Guitar Control. Today we're learning a classic acoustic guitar song, Slip, Slidin' Away, by the infamous Paul Simon. And it's a really cool one because all you need is a capo. It's just a few different chords. And these are all the chords that we also went over in this class on how to play really any song you ever need with only 10 chords. So really, if you're interested in that, there's some more information in the description below. But let's get right to the song. There's only two parts, two progressions, and they're gonna sound like this. Okay, so we have like a verse and a chorus thing going on, and it might seem like a lot of movement, but there's some really cool ways that you can do to kind of make it easier to remember. So again, capo is on the first fret, and we're going to start off with a G major chord. So even though we're fretting a G chord, middle finger, third fret on the E string, well actually technically it's the fourth fret on the E string, but third fret from the capo, which is how we'll be describing it. So even though we're rooting the G note here, this is actually a G sharp, okay? But it can be kind of confusing talking about things not relative to the capo. So really, this is just a G chord, and I'm gonna say third fret on the E string, second fret on the A string, and then third fret on either the B string or the E string, however you wanna do it. Paul Simon's not gonna judge you, it's all good. All right, so the strumming is really something that is gonna belie most of the song. So let's just kind of work on the strumming for this G chord. It's got kind of this lazy rhythm for this, acoustic arrangement of the song. And the way we're doing this is we're gonna strike the root note first. I'm using a pick, I'm just hitting the E string. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so before you move on to the rest of the progression, really try to get it to sound like that, because it's not like it's a very kind of relaxed, you're slip sliding through life. We're trying to get the heart of what the song is about and reflect that in the acoustic guitar arrangement. So root, chord. So the way I'm doing that is just the E string, then I'm getting, most of the chord, maybe the bottom 5 strings, maybe just, the bottom 3 strings. It doesn't really matter. We want to kind of get a separation of that chord instead of so root, chord, down, up, down, up. All right, so the next 2 beats, I'm really just kind of focusing in on the lower 3 strings, going down up there, and then the higher 3 strings, down up there. So instead of, it's, okay? And really these little things kind of make a big difference in, just kind of the vibe that you're playing on a song. And we're gonna be using this for all the chords for the song. So if we were to count it, it would be 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and a 4 count being a bar. So we have a couple bars of G. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and E minor. 2 bars of that. So even though now I'm fretting 2A and 2D relative to the capo, I'm still doing the same strumming pattern. Okay, so slip sliding away, slip sliding away. That's the first part, and then we've got this run. So after we have those individual bars of just G and E, we're gonna kind of change chords for after 1 bar. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and G. Okay, so we've got a G chord to a D chord. Is going to be the first bar where we split the bar in half. 1, 2, D, and 4. So we still have 4 beats. The first 2 are going to be G's beats. 1, 2, and the second 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to do the same thing with the C to a D. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so this is another thing that maybe if this switch G to D to C to D is quick for you, maybe just isolate that. G, D, C, D. Because as long as you need to do this switch, that's going to be the fastest that your fretting hand needs to move for this song. Really just let your tempo be dictated by how quickly you can do that. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and back to G. With the regular strumming pattern. So all together, this is going to be what we're going to call the chorus of the song, the slip, slide, and away part, right? G, G, then to E minor. And then we have that run where we have G to D to C to D back to G. And then we go into the verse. The verse chords are E minor, and then to G, and then a C to a D to a C. And then we have the same chords as the chorus, but in the verse. Shocker. I know. Paul Simon, genius, throwing us a curveball right there. So really, it may seem like a lot of chords if you're just looking at a chord sheet, but that's why it's really good to internalize the progression if you can, because it's really helpful. And that's why that class, if you're interested in it, it really helps you to memorize chord progressions that are long because we turn everything into numbers. So it's something you might want to check out. If not, hey, if you can do it, that's awesome. I still love you, but we're talking about this verse right now. Starting on an E minor, this is kind of a somber part, right? So we have the same strumming, and then to G. And then we have kind of like the chorus, but we're gonna do a faster C to D to C. Okay, so this is, again, you know, most of the different lyrics happen in the verses. So if we have this E minor, became a wife. These are the very words she uses to describe her life. And then we go to G, which is the same thing as the chorus, then back to E, and then the G, D, C, D, G. And then we start the chorus on the G. So a good way to differentiate these is anytime you're starting the progression on a G, you're either in the chorus or the second half of the verse. If you're starting the progression on E minor, you're in the first half of the verse, and then the following part is going to be the one that starts on a G. Okay? So I'm going to do the whole thing over again, and then I'm going to add one kind of variation to make it sound a little more interesting. All right? So if we start on the chorus, it's going to be slip, sliding away, G, and then to E minor, and then to G, D, C, D, to G. And then we go to the verse, E minor, to G. And then we have the switch where it's C, D, C. The second half of the verse is those first chords again, G, to E minor. And then the run, G, D, C, D, G. You can stop and count back to the chorus. And it's the same thing. G to E minor, and then remember that 4-chord run, G, D, C, D, back to G. Okay, this is in the key of G. Again, relative to the capo. If you're playing with a piano player or you're talking to another musician and being like, oh, what key are you playing it in? We're playing it with the capo on the first fret. So even though we're playing the chords in the key of G, we're really playing in G sharp. Also, feel free to play the song if you're just doing a solo without a capo, because Paul Simon, as you've heard, I have a hard time singing in Paul Simon's register because he has kind of a higher voice. So you might actually want to do the same thing without a capo, and then it lowers it. So then if you're trying to sing along with it, it might be a little easier to follow along at a lower register. But that's the beauty of a capo, is you can move it around to kind of get whatever you really need. And honestly, you can move the capo higher to sing it lower if you want. So even like if I wanted to put the capo on 5 and do the same thing, the same chords, right? See, I can sing it way lower. Slip sliding away, slip sliding away. So again, it's really, if you have singing and playing aspirations, it's kind of about moving this guy around to find out what works for you. But the original recorded version is capo on the first fret. If you can sing with it, that's awesome. More power to you. Well done. Now, the one thing I want to do is, because we're slip sliding, we're not just staying still, we're sliding around. So we're going to add some sliding elements into the song. And the way we're going to do it is when we go to C to D. This is going to be a trick that you can always do whenever you see a C major chord to a D major chord, which is a lot in music. If we have a C major chord here, instead of going to this D major chord, which in this case is actually kind of, that's a fast thing to do, right? So not everybody can play that fast comfortably. Something cool that you can do is take a C chord and then slide it 2 frets higher, and you're getting what's pretty much a D chord. Okay, it's a different type of a D chord, but it still is a D major class chord. C, D, G. So let's incorporate this in the verse, where we have E minor to a G. And then we have that C to D to C part. C, D, C. I just kept this one shape, C, slip slided it down 2 frets higher, and then back, and that works just fine. You can do the same thing with the chorus. G, we've got the G to the D, then the C to a higher one, and then back. And I think that, that just kind of adds a different type of feel to the sound, something that you can experiment. Again, a lot of these kind of alternative things are things that I talked about in the course that we did. And also too, it's like you don't always have to just have your ring finger on the root note here on the C. Pop that baby up to get a lower C, put your pinky where your ring finger was, and now you have this big, wide-voiced C major. Wide probably isn't the right word, deeper-voiced C major. So, again, really awesome song, great song, master songwriter. One that I think should be in everybody's repertoire because it's easy, but it's fun to play because we have these kind of little quick switches that are really good to practice your rhythm, good to practice your chord voicings and your strumming, etc., etc. So definitely check out some of the other videos that we have on the Guitar Control channel by myself, other great instructors. Check out the class if you're interested. We'd love to hear your feedback. Anything else you guys want to see, let us know, and I will talk to you again soon. Thanks a lot.